Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here and for the work that you're doing. I know it's a daunting task, especially when you're dealing with aging technology, aging buildings. One thing, and I know there's some of this you may not be able to talk about in this setting, but can you give us kind of a brief rundown on where we are with security upgrades? I know that there were several that were underway prior to the incidents of January 6, 2021. Can you give us an idea of where we are?
Thank you for the question, and you're correct. There are certain things I can't discuss in open forum, but would happy to meet with you afterwards if you'd like to speak in more detail. I can say for certain, some things we put on the record thus far is all the exterior doors to the Capitol building have been replaced with high security doors. We've also replaced all the outside facing windows of the Capitol building. We're doing that in a round robin fashion to the House and Senate office buildings, so that's happening right now. We've made some, we're in design phase, getting ready to implement some changes on the west front of the Capitol to extend our security perimeter further out that way. We've certainly added a lot of camera infrastructure, a lot of sensors, a lot of lights to the infrastructure. One of the most visible ones is one I spoke about in my opening testimony is a new south door to the Capitol building security screening facility, where that's going to start construction just this month, and we'll be working through that. But we've done a variety of other system upgrades in different ways, some visible, some not.
Okay. Being our semi-quincentennial year, we expect a lot of people in and around the mall and around the Capitol with the National Fair and other events. Do you feel that we've made enough progress to handle the influx of people?
I have, both from a security perspective, as you just mentioned, as well as just welcoming all these visitors to the Capitol Visitor Center. So definitely looking forward to all the activities associated with 250th and looking forward to welcome the American people to the beautiful Capitol campus.
Oh, I appreciate that. And there's a lot of discussion regarding future refurbishments. And from what I understand, Rayburn would be the next priority. Just make sure that I understand we're talking potentially building a facility as temporary space. Is that right?
Correct. That's one of the recommendations we've made to Congress, and we're still awaiting Congress's decision and consensus guidance on that. But that is one of the recommendations, is to build what would be a permanent facility, but the temporary use of that would be for swing space for those renovations, Rayburn and Longworth specifically. Just
from logistics and security, would that be something co-located here with underground access to other buildings? Okay.
Yeah, yes, Congressman. I mean to nod to say yes, but yes, that would be correct. We want to follow the committee's guidance, which was very helpful when they said that for the members, specifically the staff, we want to have no more than a 10-minute walk between the offices and the chambers to facilitate votes, and then underground access for security and all-weather access.
Okay. Do we have any time frame? I know you're probably waiting on Congress, which means it may happen in the next millennium, maybe the next 250 years before we get to it. But if everything lays out properly or the way it should, when would you expect that we would see the refurbishing of Rayburn to begin?
You're absolutely correct, Congressman. That is dependent on a lot of decisions that we're still pending to do so. So we know there's enabling work that needs to be done regardless of this scenario that we pick. But based on the one that we've received guidance here from this committee, we're looking probably about 5 years into the future. I want to make sure I'm phrasing this correctly. If we went with a separate building option, it's probably closer to about 8 years before we could actually start the Rayburn renovation itself in order to get all the design and enabling work complete beforehand.
In that 8 years, is there anything we can do to make the Rayburn escalators all work at the same time?
So I will say that perception's everything, but we do have 27 of 28 escalators are currently functional. One of those is in the Longworth. That's correct. That is currently not functional. It's part of the challenge with all this part of the campus. Those, in a lot of cases, are still original components to some of these buildings. We have received funding in the past for our vertical transportation system, which includes both elevators and escalators. And we're starting to replace major components in a round-robin fashion, but we're looking as that as a programmatic requirement going into the future to spend money on those upgrades of components, not full replacement, but components to make them more reliable.
Well, I appreciate that, because quite often I can either go up or I can go down, but I can't do both in Rayburn. So, or I can go from one floor to the next, but not the next one. So anything you could do to facilitate that, I appreciate it. Thank you. I yield back.